Yeah, I just woke up from a 7-month nap and Daddy needs to make some money. I guess we'll start with this. 1968 Dodge Charger. God bless America. And this car is very reminiscent of a villain vehicle from a little movie called, oh, I don't know, Bullet. How about you educate yourself, heathens? In that movie, the main character is portrayed by none other than the master himself, Steve McQueen. Ah, Steve McQueen. Women want to be with him, and men want to be in him. Men want to be him, is what I meant. Or did I? And can you believe that in mid-year 1968 that you could get a slant 6 in a base model Charger and it had 145 horsepower? Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't drive the daylights out of that car, but it's a little disappointing. Kind of like this YouTube channel. But luckily, our featured car is not a base model. As you've noticed, this monster is an RT, which stood for really tough. America. Just kidding, it obviously stood for road and track, and nothing screams track capabilities like a 68 Charger. Base engine in that RT? Oh, just a little thing we call a 440 Magnum. Compression ratio is 10.1 to 1, and this beast was putting out 375 horsepower, 480 pound-feet of torque. And if you thought it didn't get any better, oh, it does. Let's take a look inside. Oh, yes. 4-speed manual. I think every woman in the tri-state area just got pregnant. And if you had the manual transmission, out back was a Dana 60 rear and sure grip was included. And that Dana 60 was housing 354 gears. As you'd imagine, this car is rather ridiculous. With the driver in it, it weighed in at
4,130 pounds.
The RT was somewhat expensive. It was $3,711, and if you adjust for inflation, that'd be about $33,500 today. Of course, you're not gonna get one of these cars for $33,000 today. Not even close. But even with that price, it sold all right. There were over 96,000 total Chargers sold in 1968, and 17,584 had the RT package. And then we get to its opponent, which is somewhat of a grandma's sleeper car, and I love it. 1970 Buick GS455. And speaking of 1970 Buicks, this week's fan-featured car comes from Adrian Fletcher. He states it's a 1970 Buick, and oh yeah, it's a 455. Stage 1. Convertible.
That's what I'm talking about!
And if you're a fan of the channel and you want your car featured in a future video, just email it to me at carsandzebras@gmail.com. Back to the other Buick. As mentioned, this one's a GS455. It's not a stage 1, but it still had a compression ratio of 10 to 1, and it was making 350 horsepower. And brace yourself, foo. 510 pound-feet of torque at only 2,800 RPM. And why don't you take a look inside? This one's also a 4-speed manual. You guys ask for it. I deliver. That's how this relationship works. I'm gonna satisfy you more than you ever thought possible. It's kind of like that one time your wife finally let you get the peanut butter out and you like started to smear it around and then you you know what I'm talking about. Now back is a set of 342 gears, and if you can believe it, this car is heavier than the Charger with the driver in it. 4,260 pounds. And I must say that these Buicks were a pretty good deal in 1970. They started out at $3,283. That transmission was another $200, and then posi rear was about $52. That gives you a grand total, of course without any other options, $3,535. And adjusting for inflation, that'd only be about $28,623 today. Let's see what they do on the strip.
9 miles per hour. Mark Lumsden has this GS455 1970 Uxbridge, Ontario. And it looks like the Charger turns a...
In the first round, the Buick got a red light, giving the automatic win to the Charger. Let's see what happens in round 2.
Buick GS455 4-speed going against this Charger RT from 1968. In Deliverer going to this point. 16 and 100.
In the second round, it's the Buick that takes home the win, tying things up. So let's see what happens in that final round.
Here's a GS455 4-speed from 1970 in the left lane, and a Charger RT 1968, the first year for this seminal
In this round, the Buick had a slightly worse ET, but they did cross the finish line first, giving them the win for this shootout. A huge thanks to both of the owners for bringing out these cars because they are absolutely awesome. And come on, you guys, hit that subscribe button, and I'm gonna catch you at the next one. I mean, hopefully not a couple months before then. Yeah, we'll see.